Today I want to talk to you about buying property, especially if you have a little cash. You can buy a house that needs some work, but you can actually slowly fix the house yourself. The first house I bought was from a tax scavenger sale. And it took a lot of work to get it built up, but then I was able to sell that and make about $50,000. There's another house. This guy inherited this house in Dyer, Indiana, and it needed too much work. It needed a new roof and things like that. So I bought it for $45,000, put about $20,000 into it, and now I'm renting that house out. The house I had in Chicago, we bought for $137,000. Now it's worth $380,000. But I did gut that house out totally. It enabled me to buy this house for $75,000 in cash. So this house is in the old part of town, and where the homes go up to about $300,000. But the new part of town, they start at $300,000 and go to about $600,000. I know one sold for $588,000 last year. This house was bought from a guy who was 85. It was a second vacation home, and it's kind of a ranch cabin style. It has a fireplace, a 10-foot ceiling in the living room. You can see from the kitchen all the way into the living room, past the dining room. It actually has 3 bedrooms, and 2 are pretty nice size, and one's really large, and the third one's like a medium-sized bedroom. So I did some work on the inside. I bought this house in 2021, and we're going to retire in 3 years, so we're going to sell the house. I had to put in a new furnace. It got a new roof about 5 years ago. The gutter on the right side is a one-piece 16-footer. The one on the left side, I have to take it all down. 6-foot increments, I'm not sure, but I need a one-piece there too. We're going to replace the windows, of course, and kind of beautify this pig a little bit. I did a video on the carpeting, the laminate flooring, the ceiling, and the railing. If you're hiring a contractor, you need to know the facts, how something should be done. DIY the basics if you can. Demolition, do it yourself. That's going to save you a lot of money if you hire a contractor. So this way, it'll allow you to better manage the results because you know how it's supposed to be done, what's supposed to be done, so on and so forth. This summer, I'm working on landscaping stuff because right here what you see in the front of the house, that used to be rocks and people just parked in the front. So I'm trying to grow grass there. I'm putting timbers down so it looks better at night. There's more light here because this is kind of a suburban rural area. So everybody has lights in the front of their house. I'm trying to just slowly get the landscaping to look a lot better. And the goal is to get this house where it's halfway decent, where we can sell it in 3 years and at least make about $50,000 because we got the house so cheap. But I have a lot of opportunities to buy homes. This is how this will look at night. We're going to take away all the stuff in front of the timbers there and put more rocks there. We have the ugliest house on the block, as you can see. Now all this in the front is where people used to park. You can see the little wood stocks here. So I'm going to redo this to make it look really nice. Get rid of all the grass in front of that. And there's my neighbor. Hello, neighbor. And like I said, I like the neighborhood. People are really nice. We all look out for each other. We're going to have this redone, but there are guys who do jobs and they'll have extra concrete and they'll come and do that. So I got a couple of guys lined up. Putting these timbers down is easy. I take a 1/4-inch drill bit and drill holes here. And then I take these stakes and I just pound them into the ground. And the lights you see are from Amazon. And I take this and I take a rubber mallet and I pound that into the ground and then put it all together, turn it on. It's good to go. That's how that looks there. And again, we're slowly just making this look a lot better. And there's Bam Bam. And he's a COVID dog, so he's really entitled. Very spoiled. Somebody put these bricks in with stakes in them. At night though, I like the way it looks. And I also have a nonprofit, so I hope elderly people fix stuff around their house for free and things like that. And again, the grass outside of the timber is going to be all taken out. On the left side, we have to remove the bricks they put in with stakes. But I'll have that done by the time this video is done. And at night, everybody's into lights over here. You should see Christmas. It's really crazy. So I still have more work to do. And his lights are crooked like a snake there. But yeah, we're getting there. The timbers I bought from Menards for $3.99. The stakes from Amazon. I linked this stuff below. And then the lights are from Amazon as well. Just to get it the way it is now, I did all this in the last 2 or 3 months. I'm semi-retired, so I'm taking my time. I know I have 3 years. To my wife's dismay, I'm taking my time. My sister-in-law lost her husband 5 years ago. Now she moved into a condo. Her home is up for sale right now. And then people inherited homes, like the one in Indiana that I got. He inherited it. It needed like 20, 30 grand worth of work. Didn't have the money. He had to pay taxes on it. He just wanted to get rid of it. So you're going to see a lot of that now with property taxes doubling and tripling. And they've doubled and tripled in Cook County in Illinois in the last 2 years. So I see a lot of inventory going up all over Illinois, Indiana, and all over the country. People are putting their homes up for sale because I like this cabin look and upgrade everything inside the house. So as you see, homeowners are paying a lot more. It's happened all over, and that's from money.com, but it happens all over. Vegas, Texas, Florida has problems with different kind of insurance increases, and you have people in condos who can't afford the HOA fees. There's all kind of things going on in the real estate market, and inventories are going higher and higher. So we'll see where this leads, but this is a chance now for you to buy homes but not take advantage of the elderly. You see signs every day, everywhere I go, about we'll buy your home cash, close whenever you want to close, we'll make it easy, and we'll buy it as it is. So they just want to come in and buy homes as they are. And a lot of these people who are doing that, they're remodeling them a little bit, like putting lipstick on a pig like I'm going to do, and then they're renting them out. These are all the people now who owe taxes. And this list comes out in Cook County, and they just double, triple, quadruple some of the property taxes. One lady was paying $3,800 a year. 1 year, next year now it's $11,000. People are getting loans out to pay their taxes. It makes no sense. It's silly. And in Illinois, they have loopholes. So if you buy somebody's taxes in a tax scavenger sale, you can charge them 6% the first year. By the third year, you're at 54%. So essentially, when you buy these taxes in these tax scavenger sales, you own the house. But they have 3 years to pay you off with rising interest. If they don't after 3 years, you can just flip the house, remodel it, whatever you want to do. But if there is a sale in error, then you say, I don't want the house. And you give it back to wherever you got it from. So if it's the city of Harvey, if it's going to be Chicago, the little town has to pay. Chicago paid $85 million in loophole, what they call an error in sale loophole. Only Illinois has this. Some crooked politician created this so people can make money. You get this in the mail. This is your last chance to pay your $5,700 tax bill. And if you don't, it goes a yearly scavenger tax sale. People who have hedge funds, out-of-state people buy these taxes knowing there's a loophole, knowing that the description on the website's wrong, description issued by the sheriff's department's wrong. This house was resold in a scavenger tax sale 4 times. By the way, this document and more information about all this is linked below. But the city has to pay this. This is a loophole. This house is in Harvey, Illinois. It says it didn't have an attic. There's an attic. $17,000 off a $1,700 tax bill. That's a dilapidated house. Only in Illinois will they still try to collect taxes on dilapidated homes. Go around Route 66, anywhere, you see a lot of that. These people are finally trying to change this sale in error. Supposedly it's on Pritzker's desk to sign, but it's not signed yet. Other people are saying it's going to make it worse, but I get this all the time. We want to buy your home, don't do anything, we'll just buy it cash. That's what they want to do. By 2030, 1 in 5 people are going to be 65 years old. It could be a home like this, second home for rent. So there's a lot of reasons that people are selling their home. This is a home I had in Chicago. This is how it looked when we bought it. I hired guys to help me just demo it all out, totally gutting the house. So that's what I had to do on the last house. Bought it for $137, and we sold it for $260 or something like that. And right now it's worth $380. But this was in a neighborhood that was being gentrified, so we knew it was going to appreciate. That we did know. But we didn't know what was coming down the line. Cook County hadn't assessed his property values in 10 years. So everybody's property went up 2, 3, 4 times, which means their taxes went up. So that's unfortunate. And again, lipstick on a pig. You look on the upper right, you see the back door. That window was rotted out, really, and put in just a basic window. The living room was 20 feet by 20 feet with 10-foot ceilings. There were 2 basement apartments. So you can see in the bottom, I gutted those out. So I got it ready for somebody to actually rent and have tenants. And that's why it went up in value. The kitchen was ugly, as you can see. Did a basic remodel job on that. And pretty much did all this myself with just laborers. I mean, gutted out the bathroom. We had to sister the flooring because the tub was about to fall through to the basement. A lot of things we had to do on this house, and I never want to do it again. Not gonna lie to you. We made the money off this house to buy this house outright, pay off the car and the credit cards. So it worked out. The things I did in this house when I first moved in, besides putting in a new furnace, was first we had to remove these old cabinets and this countertop because it was blocking access or view to the dining room and the living room. As you can see, It was held together by these pipes. So we had to cut that pipe to do that. So we started with number one. So once we removed the countertop, we had a 3/4 inch gap to fill, and it was about 54 inches long and 19 inches wide. So I got some 3/4 inch plywood, cut it to spec, and put that in so we can smooth out the floor. We had to cut that pipe, of course, I told you before, to get those cabinets down. So once I cut that pipe, I had to fill that. So I was able to find some, I think it was a 4 sheet by 8 sheet. It might have been 2 inches, I'm not quite sure, to fill that, and I cut that to size. The width on the top was about the same as the width on the bottom cabinet, so I put that there, and we just took small little screws to hold it up. But the goal here was to flush that out, so when I started laying any kind of sealing solution up there, it will be relatively flat and smooth. And then, of course, when we cut the cabinet down, now that left a hole here. So we had to create a frame here so we can apply some 1/4 inch plywood to this to create some kind of semblance of a wall in it. And this is just temporary. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this long term, but I need to create something to fill that hole. And number 3 over here to the right, put some corner beads on it and just mudded it out. It's not perfect. So this is a little bit of post demolition of those cabinets and countertops. So we got 1, 2, and 3 done. Number 4 here, we need to replace this flimsy railing. We had the same kind over here. And then the white box here, we need to replace this. And then once we do that, we're going to extend the stairs. And I'll show you how I did that. But this railing, I just copied that same concept with 2x6s to fix number 4 to replace the railing here in number 4. Everything here was kind of brown, so we just put a temporary white up here just to soften it up. So the rail here on the left side is what I replaced with the one on the right side. And I used basically 2x6s to frame it out. I used a 2x4 here as a brace on top, and then a 2x4 on the bottom as well to brace that. And then the spindles here were just 2x2s. And as you can see over here, I cut the top off of that white box you saw earlier, number 5 in the previous picture. I'm going to switch over really quick how to remove a carpet because you pay people a lot of money for that. Cut the room this way so you have it in 4 different pieces. And this is just one side of that. And what you'll see is that you have to remove the little ruler thing here. And there's going to be small nails that's circled here in red. You just need to get up under that ruler thing and pop it up. And use whatever apparatus or tool you want to use for that. Use a Wonder Bar. You can use a screwdriver and a hammer and just tap it and pull it up. So that's the first thing you're going to want to do. And if you see, there's a carpet over here to the left, but below that, that's an underlayment. And they use staples. And these staples are best or most easily pulled out with a pair of pliers. And then when you're done with that, scrape across the floor to make sure that everything is out. I told you before, I spent $800 for 2,400 square foot of laminate tongue and groove flooring. This was a demolition job. I priced them out were about $54 a box. During the demolition process, surely they messed up some tongues and some grooves, and I don't know, 20% of the boards were just totally unusable, but I had enough to do the entire house. I was able to redo the bedrooms, the hallway, the kitchen, and the dining room, and they are water resistant. If you go to Home Depot, you can look at this tongue and groove flooring. And they have wood, they have laminate, they have waterproof. I can cover 24 feet for $99. You need to know the size of the room. Here's your tongue over here and the grooves on the other side, and these just pop together. Additional pieces you can get like 1/4 round. But if you buy your materials, you can save money and then have a contract put the stuff in. Know the facts, DIY the basics, better manage the results of any project. If I'm doing tongue and groove flooring, what I normally want to do is start with the longest part, straightest part of the room. I can use it by a little snap chalk kit like this and just snap the room so I know where the center of the room is and how long it is and divide it. So if the longest part of the room is up here or if it's down there, I want to start with the longest part of the room. With tongue and groove flooring like this should be offset. So if this first row I'm going to start with a long piece, the second row should start with a short piece, and so on and so forth, long and short. Since they lock together, the whole floor needs to move together. By offsetting the pieces on a per row basis, it gives you a stronger floor. So make sure that also all of your smaller cuts and imperfections are in corners and tucked away. Never have that in the middle, of course, of your room. Now, contrary to what I just said, there's sometimes when you don't have access to a long part of the room. In this particular case, it was important to me that I had a straight line going down where the stove was here, going up down to the stairwell. You also have to make sure you leave room for the floor to expand and contract. Place these little markers here, and you can buy the kit. You see it to the left. And you get a little hammer and a little rubber hammer, and like this, a black hammer you see down there, and a little tool to knock everything into place. And this flooring here, I told you it was a demo flooring it's used, so we haven't cleaned it quite yet. We did end up cleaning that. But you see there's a tongue, and then there's a groove, and they just snap in. And a lot of times this is used, so sometimes I didn't have a tongue or didn't have a groove, but these just really pop in very effortlessly. Get this in, hold on, like that. And then just pop it in on this side, lift it up, and just snap it down, and that's it. And now you see why and how they move together, because once they're tongue and grooved, they become one unit. Otherwise, you might get buckles if you do it right. Pretty simple to do. You can also get a floor laminate cutter for like $100 that's easier to cut it. Some people use X-Acto knives. Okay, lipstick on a pig, or we're gonna do some silly lipstick. But the first thing I had to do was, some of these tiles are coming down, so I had to take small screws and go everywhere along the ceiling to put those tiles back up so they were there securely. That was number one. Then at that point, I had to cover up the gap. I showed you that earlier. If I just Google glue up ceiling panels, these are tiles, you can see they're everywhere, and you can find whatever one you like or design. And just, I would buy a few pieces first and see how it looks. You can see, if I go to Amazon, one piece is $3. If I want to cover 256 square feet, it's about $350. $359. This is only for $242, and you get a couple of boxes of those. You need glue to glue it up, and this will be the glue, or any glue like this. And you get 4 packs of those for $28. I think I bought four packs. And remember, this is different. When you're doing ceiling panels, you want to identify the center of the room, and you start in the center of the room and go left or right, and you go one square at a time in terms of this being 4 separate segments. And then make sure here that all your small cuts like that are in the corners. What I like about these styrofoam panels is that they're very easy to work with. They break very easily, so be very careful with them. You just put glue on the back of them and just put them up. And once you have the ceiling squared off and you know where your center point or your start point is, put it up and just go down your line. The stairs. So this stair, the goal here was to get rid of that box and create a railing going down where I can still close that gate you see and latch it so I can keep my dog in. So I got that done, but I still have to extend the stairs here and do a lot more work, and of course, put a varnish on it. But this is how I created that. And again, same thing, I use 2x6s, 2x4s, and 2x2s. And you can look at this design and pretty much figure it out. This stairs, everything complete, costs $300. And you can see over here to the left, I still have, I don't know, 6-inch gap over here now, because the box was over here. Now I have the railing, but I still have to fill that gap. I'll show you how I did that. So what I did was just created blocks. On the left, I had these little 2x6s, and then in the middle pictures, you can see I used 2x4s, and I had to rip one of the 2x4s to fit. And I created a riser on top here, and these are the boxes I created. Inside the box itself, I have the lip, and I have also the riser, and I changed the shape and size, of course, of each step. The bottom step didn't require any of that. I think I put a piece of 3/4 inch plywood. I also realized that there was a piece of the flooring here hanging off to the left here. I'm showing you in the video. So I had to end up putting 2 2x4s there to make sure I had support for the floor. So this is what I did to create the square boxes and to extend the stairs. These blocks, the automatic risers and lips in them, worked out pretty good. Now here, as you can see, if you look to the far right, you see why I applied shimmies to the front of the stairs here on the extensions. And it didn't have to be perfect because I'm going to use a nose piece on these stairs to make everything blend together. One small problem that I ran into is when I tried to use the laminate as part of the riser and the floor solution here. The riser was too far in, so I had to take a few 1x4s and cut little pieces and put them here, and that brought the riser of the flooring, laminate flooring part out more, so it fit better. They fit together pretty good in that corner. So as you can see here, on the top shelf, I put in a just temporary nose piece to see what it looks like. But this is how this finally came together. And it worked out pretty good. By putting that little blocker there for the riser area, everything fit pretty snug and it snapped in. And now I just have to put in nose pieces everywhere and kind of put the trim in, and it's coming together. As you can see, I stained the right rail. And I have to also, of course, do the floor level here. I took the carpet out though, on the landing area on the floor, going into the living room, so we're ready to move on, and this is how it progressed. Okay, so I'm not quite done here, but as you can see, and this is really dirty, I've been going up and down the stairs, so I haven't cleaned it yet. As you can see, this is how come along so far. I'm not done. There's a lot of different things I have to do with this, but it turned out pretty good. So we got the new rail put in. We connected that to the gate, and the gate has also been varnished the same color, so it locks now on the top and the bottom, and we got everything going. And we also have a threshold on the bottom here, and again I have a lot more work to do. I have to fix that wall there. I have to smooth things out. I'm probably gonna do some more sanding here. I'll show you what I do as I do it. The front stairs on the left hand side, you can't see those right now, but they have to be, the whole porch has to be redone. And I want it to look like the back porch, and I have to paint the back and the front. We have to replace the gutter on the left hand side. Again, paint or reside the house. We're looking at that now. The sidewalk in front has to be redone. Usually what I'll do is I'll get somebody to go ahead and take that out. Then I'll just do the sidewalk myself. I mean, it's easy to do. And then we have the driveway. This is the back porch I built because of the dog. These are some of the colors that my wife is looking at. These windows all had to be replaced, the door frame, everything, the gutter. So I have work to do. That back fence, I had to first solidify it, and we're going to put a brand new fence just over that. We're not going to take that down at all. These two windows are going to be cut out and elongated or made longer so we can see from the kitchen into the backyard. And this is the front porch. This concrete, the stairs have to be redone, and all this has to come down and be redone. And I want it to look more like the back, and then I can go ahead and paint it. Changing light fixtures, everybody can do this, pretty simple to do. We just take these two screws out right here. And again, there are professional videos out there. I'm not a professional at this. I am not a contractor. So anything I tell you, please, do your research. But you have two wires here. You may have a ground wire. This house was built in 1960. They didn't start the new coding until 1961. So there's probably not a ground wire here. I just screw those two screws in. And if you have a ground wire, I don't think you can just put it on anything and have a ground, because the ground has to come from an electrical box. Before you start these projects, I meant to say this, kill the electricity. Make sure you turn off, go down there and hit that fuse box and make sure you turn that electricity off before you start this, and turn off the light. And you just pretty much hook up the white to the white, the black to the black. You see these cables are kind of all black. So the older the wiring is, the tougher it's going to be. The house in Chicago was built in 1896. So that was a pain in the butt. I kept the old screws because they fit just right here. So I just used those again. Then I put, of course, the caps on. I don't like to use electrical tape or stuff like this. So I want to make sure that they don't ever. You see your little bolt coming out there, and just move it up into the hole. And then put the black caps on, and you're good to go. And this applies to almost any lighting fixture. You may have to move the electrical plate up or back, or move it around, or push it further in, depending on whether you have a mount flush or how your light fixture is. So that's how that goes up. And then as far as the ceiling, I showed you another video how I started this, but with these ceiling panels, I always start in the middle of the room, make sure everything's straight, work my way out. Unlike the flooring where I can start in the corner somewhere. This is the rail I built, and I show you in the video again how I did that. This is the flooring we put in, the tugging groove flooring. And this right here, I can remove this, but the clock on the other side is beautiful. So that's what's stopping me right now. But I'll show you that when I start doing projects in the living room. But this is the rail right here. And then The window's going to come down to about where the arrow stops, so we're going to cut a hole in the wall. These are the ceiling panels. I mentioned earlier that I help the elderly fix stuff around their house in my neighborhood for free. But I've received 8 or 9 requests to help people actually beautify their homes, and they saw some of my YouTube channel stuff, and they want me to actually help them sell it. And I'm not into that. They want to commission me for that, but I'm going to help this guy. He has 3 properties in the communities here, and he wants to sell it. He's a contractor, so I can just point out this, and that, and he'll just fix it. That's a good thing. But the other people, we have to get contractors and negotiate prices. It's going to be a little bit more entailed. I don't want to see elderly people get ripped off, though. And there's a lot of that going on with predatory people trying to buy their homes for really low-ball prices, as is, quote-unquote. We're going to beautify it, fix it up a little bit to add more value to it, so they won't be in that low-ball value or that low-ball bracket, and that's what we don't want. But yeah, paint this, paint that, replace a window here or there, maybe cut a tree down here or there. And this house, again, is supposed to be well-maintained in the inside, so I don't see a problem with that. But this is not a business I'm in. I do this for free for people. They have offered to pay me. We'll see how that goes. That's not my concern right now. I just don't want to see elderly people get ripped off. That's about it. So I'm helping out my community any way I can.